folks, TJ here. Radiocast, Crash Radiocast, number 5 for me, TJ, or TJ Talks, as Sonic or Dave. I call him Sonic now. I do a little phonics thing. Sometimes I have a hard time remembering names. So Dave will forever just be the word Sonic. So when I say Sonic, it's Dave. And he's basically the dude that is in charge and manages Crash Radio. And I appreciate him and Mr. Wilkins for inviting me to have a spot. This is now my 5th radio cast, and I'm going to do a little bedtime story reading for you, because TJ wrote in a book that was Sinclair or retro computer related years ago. And I want to thank George, and hopefully I pronounced it right, Bachelor, for inviting me to be, and if you're watching the video right now, Blast Annual 2020. This is the first little foray into my 8-bit retro. The only other time my name was ever in anything computer related was back in 1996. I worked for a company that sold and repaired computer stuff. And as a side thing, I was selling computers, PCs, with a thing called the Gemulator. If you're into Atari, one of the Derek McHaka was a popular programmer, and he created something that you could slap TOS or TOS ROMs onto and make a PC into an Atari. So since this company I worked for sold generic PCs that were all the rage back then, I thought, what the hell? We'll slap one of these Gemulators in there and we'll call it the Gembino, because the name of the company that I helped, actually, I named it, but I worked for somebody, so it wasn't mine, but it was called Godfather Computer. At some point, I think I saved a business card from back then, Godfather Computer, and what we gonna name the computer? Well, we had the Hoffa, and instead of Gambino, I named this one the Gembino, because Atari used the Gem desktop. And so Gembino, and I think we sold one, because not long after that, I left the company, or they had a layoff, and I was part of the layoff. So that was my foray. I had a magazine, I think it was a magazine that was called Current Notes. And they had a little 2 or 3 paragraph thing that said, hey, at the, I don't know if it was the Sacramento show, or somehow they got wind of our company selling the Gembino. And there's a little note, and in that little thing in the magazine, it says, Thomas Ferreira or TJ Ferreira, contact him for ordering your Gembino. So that's my first. My second, well, this cool Blast Annual 2020. I want to thank George Bachelor. Did I already say that already? I forget. I'm getting old. I forget. But thanking him for letting me be part of this cool annual that was a Kickstarter. And this is the first issue. I think they made one other issue after that I could not at the time afford and get. So I only have the first one. But we're going to do a reading for you today. If you end up watching the video later, so the scoop is typically on Wednesdays, I have a radio cast. And whatever Friday or Saturday follows it, I'll have the video up for your enjoyment. Because sometimes videos are fun because you can see me either itching my nose or being flamboyant, or just sometimes videos is worth 1,000 words. But this is the radio cast, so I'm going to read. So you can picture me. I've got my Sinclair ZXSpectrum black shirt on, and I've got this book. It's called Blast Annual 2020. It says Volume 1, Annual Retro Gaming Book. And the name of the story, again, here's the front of the cover for those watching the video. I don't know if the website's still valid, but blastannual.com. I'll have to check it out, but it's 2023, folks, so I don't know. But if you go to the table of contents, which I'm flipping to now for those listening on the radio, under the contents section, which this is kind of what it looks like for you watching it. This is a very colorful, all-color, vibrant, and it covers many platforms. Spectrum, Atari, CPC, MSX, Commodore. I like them. I'm just jabbing you. Atari 2600, NES, all sorts of stuff. But my little chapter is on page 57. It was called A Sinclair Love Story. So it's bedtime, folks. You want to go to bed feeling amore, feeling a little love. So we're going to read this article. I figure it's safe to do it now. I don't think you can buy these anymore, and it's 2020. So let me flip. Can you hear the pages? If you're watching the video, I probably just made it all blurry now because I was flicking it in front of the camera. But page 57, let me get to 57. And we're going to read, it's only a one-pager, so it's not like I'm I've written a couple of articles for other magazines before, but they were fly fishing related, and it was for the company I worked for, so they probably felt obligated to have my story, although I think a lot of people liked it. So anyway, here's for you watching the video, here's a picture of the page. So you can see my pretty mug. If you're on the radio right now listening, you know how gorgeous I am. I've got a big gray beard. I look like Christmas time, all wrapped up in a bundle. Game. So on the top it says Retro Love Story, and there's a little Atari joystick. And it says, An American Finds Sinclair Love Story. Now, I didn't put that part. That's the liberty of the editor. They put that, An American Finds Sinclair Love Story. And it is kind of true, so I'm cool with it. And it says came for the Sinclair, not game, came for the Sinclair. See, I haven't read this in years. I wrote it 3.5, 4 years ago or whatever. Came for the Sinclair, but stayed for the people. And I've said that numerous times. I love these computers. I love what they do, but I stay for the people. It's the people that I fall in love with ultimately and become friends with, and why I stay. There's a picture of me in here, and there's a picture of me pointing and playing my Invasion of the Cloud People, which I am very proud of, even though it's a simple game. The one that's on the screen looks like my old original one for the Speccy 48. First game I've ever created in my life. And it works, so I'm proud of it. So let's read. So kick back, relax, get in bed if it's bedtime, listen, and I'll do my best to read this story to you. I can't read too well, so in terms of using glasses, so I'm going to take my glasses off, so I don't have to keep looking over them. Okay, get my coughs out of the way. Let me tell you a little story. A story about a 53-year-old man. 53? I'm 57, about to turn 57, so holy crap, time flies, Batman. So, a story about a 53-year-old man that has found the love of the Sinclair 8-bit machines much later in life, long after the whole hubbub, in quotes, of its popularity in the 1980s. You see, this 53-year-old lives in the USA, and over on this side of the pond, Sinclair computers never had a real traction. And that was the case for me too, until 2019 is what I put here. Now, I could have swear it was 2018, but okay, I'll go with 19. I don't know. That in itself is an oddity, an American falling in love with a platform that never really made it over here. Let's talk about that a second. So yeah, there were Sinclairs, and I actually made a video when I purchased my Atari 800, which you can actually see in the camera back there. I actually, for a brief time, saw a ZX80 for sale, because that's the Atari 800 and 400 were available in 1980. So they were selling the ZX80, and I do remember in magazines. So my thinking was, gee, for the price of $99 or whatever it is, I could buy 10 of these for the price of an Atari. But then I started looking at it, and there's no sound. It's in black and white. I'm going to put the book up for a second in front of us, I'm about to stage. And so I go, oh, the Atari is $1,000, and a cassette is another couple hundred, and I'd get out the door for like $1,200 versus $99. Let's go with the Atari. It was my own money, paper route money, when kids back then worked. I would get, I don't know when I had my first paper route, 8, 9, 10, something like that. I'd get up in the wee hours in the morning and go out and deliver papers. So I was entrepreneurial, saving my money, and I was a geek, so I wanted to buy a computer. And the ZX80 was cool, and it looked slick, and I'm glad to own one now. But yeah, back then, color, the sounds, I like that. I bought an Atari. But I still looked briefly at a ZX80. So over here, when the Spectrum actually came out, I remember seeing it, but I was already so enthralled and and developed into the Atari world. Anyway, let's continue reading on. So you'll see I'm going to break off in little tangents here as I read. Hi, my name is Thomas TJ, in quotes, Ferreira, and I live in California, USA. At 53 years of age, I have found a great new fascination and love for everything Sinclair computing. And since January of 2019, I could have swore it was 2018, but hell, I don't know. I have gone hog wild, in quotes, learning all I can about this amazing platform. From buying my first Sinclair computers, to learning how to program in BASIC, and even creating my first game called Invasion of the Cloud People, all on the Speccy. Wow, it's so super cool. And I really felt that back then, and I still feel that today. That is not it, though. See, I forgot the word it. I have been on, but it's in the print. I'm reading, and this is fresh. It's been 3 years or whatever since I've last wrote this and read it. I have been on YouTube for a very long time and have a history of making videos on my fascination of old computers. But up until 2019, I had not featured a spot of Sinclair in any of my videos. Around January of 2019, so I was already getting into it in 2018. It's because January 2019 is when I purchased my first one. I had been reading up on it in advance. So cool. And I'm glad I remembered. I started documenting my exploration of Sinclair computers and made some videos. Now I seem to be making weekly videos all about my Sinclair computing love affair. At that time, I had around 300 channel members, but as of today, this is funny, I am nearing 700 YouTube channel members, all because of my new love for the Sinclair. Now let's fast forward. This is not a big number, but it is for me. It's now 2023. I just hit 5,000 channel members, and I would say a big chunk of it is for my love of retro and vintage computers, whether it be Sinclair, Atari, all the others. A little bit of my fishing, I'm sure, is some folks that watch my YouTube channel, but I think most are here for either maybe my personality a little bit because of my style, but I think most of it is for the Sinclair, probably a big chunk of it. Will I hit 10,000? I highly doubt it. At this point, I think I'll probably stick to 5,000 something for a very long time. I don't think I'll be one of those 100,000 channel YouTubers. If I am, thank you in advance, because I would love to, when I get to retirement age, have that many. And actually, by then, I could actually make a few dollars to pay for gas in California. It's $1 bazillion here. Okay, let's keep reading on. I think YouTube channel members appreciate the enthusiasm in my videos and how excited I get when every new thing I learn about the platform. Because this is all fresh. I never had Sinclairs before, so everything that I'm doing is as if I step back to 1980s and enjoying it for the first time. Or if it's an old Atari that I had years ago, it's been decades since I've used it. So me seeing it all over again is mind-blowing, and it's because I'm re-looking at it from fresh eyes from an old set of eyes many decades later. So, yeah. I am not stopping there, though, I say. I have created a small haven called the Sinclair Society on Facebook, where like-minded folks are joining and can share their love for the platform. We offer a game of the week, not of, but game of the week, but it looks like it actually says game of in the print, but I call it game of the week. It's a little bit Irish. I sound like a drunken Worf from Star Trek. He's more Scottish. I don't know. Anyway, game of the week where members try to get high scores and be able to be king or queen of the Sinclair Society. If even for just a short time, it's loads of fun. So my Sinclair Society started out as a party of one, TJ, and then has grown to takes a number of years, but I'm over 1,800 now group members in this group that I started. So I'm proud of it, and creating a little fun haven for, there's plenty of Sinclair sites, and there is some that are 10, 15,000 people or whatever. So it's small in that respect, but it's a good size for a smaller, fresh, newer group. And I'm proud of Sinclair Society. Let's continue on reading. I've got a little bit more to go. I was born and raised with Atari here in the USA, where the Atari, Commodore, and Apples of the world were much bigger over here. I do remember the ZX80 and ZX81 over here early on, but with sound and color, Atari won my heart. Therefore, I never owned a Sinclair before 2019. Fast forward to 2019, I have fallen in love all over again with fun computing, like I had in the 1980s with my Atari. This time, though, it is with a sleek line of sexy black computers, all from overseas, made by Sinclair. Now, how crazy is that? That's pretty crazy, they put in parentheses, and that's the editor speaking. I didn't call myself crazy, even though I am kind of crazy. Okay, continue reading. We'll throw out thanks to Spectrum Next team by introducing a next-gen Speccy back in 2017. And although I remember the announcement on the Kickstarter, it never really grabbed me. Until now, I say. So back then, we haven't had our next yet. At least the commoners like me getting their first Speccy Next. Not the... I don't know, did anybody... Who had them in 2018-19? Developers, I guess? I'm reaching out. I don't remember. Once I started diving into what the Spectrum Next was, I was charmed. Charmed by the computer. Charmed by the community. Charmed by the Sinclair history. All of it. Therefore, I blame the Spectrum Next team for this rabbit hole I am now in. And is it a rabbit hole? Spectrum Next I now own most of the Speccies. And the funny thing is, I don't own a Speccy 16 or 48. The little rubber dead flesh keyboard model. The closest I have to it is the Omni laptop, which is really a Speccy 128. But I own many of the others. At some point, I need to get... And that phone's ringing. Hell with you. I'm not answering it. It's my day off. Anyway, I don't own a 16 or 48 yet. So anybody out there, if you actually have an extra one that's in a box that looks really good and want to give me a pretty fair... low price. Let me know, because I do need to get one. I'm on a tight budget. There's certain things I'm trying to re-get that I got sold off before that I'm trying to get back. So I don't have, I'm itching my nose. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. So yeah, I don't have, I have to say I own plenty of Speccy, so I don't have to get a 1648, but I want one for the sake of having one because it was really the bee's knees back then. Anyway, let's keep reading. So I was charmed. Therefore, I blame the Spectrum Next team for all this rabbit hole. And it isn't, like I said, I own Oric Atmoses, I own Aquariuses, I own TRS-80 MC10, things that I don't think I would ever really purchased before, but the Speccy Next really invigorated my love for 8-bit and getting back into it. I had never left it. I've been using a computer since the 70s, but there is kind of brief times where girls were more important, hot cars were more important, life, getting married, other things. I never got rid of it. Although I did get rid of stuff. I got rid of stuff for free, like my Mega 2 ST Atari and my Atari 800. I don't know what I did with them. I gave away a lot of stuff. Anyway, lots of laughs, I say, after going down this rabbit hole. I often like to say this about computer platforms. I came for the computer, but I stayed for the people. I am making so many new friends in the Sinclair community, and they are fast becoming the reason I dove in headfirst to learn all about this platform, to participate in it, and hopefully help it thrive. And I think, in my little way, I think I have, in this amount of years that I've been doing this and making videos, I have a little bit of a name for myself. They probably go, oh, that's that strange guy that's from the United States that makes videos and he's loud and he plays video games and he swears like, you bastard, stuff like that. I'm perfectly fine for being known for that. So I've got a little bit of a, not a notoriety, but a little bit of a name, which I'm proud of. And I think me spreading the word about the Next, hopefully in my little way, helped more people buy it during the second Kickstarter and even first one because I was so vocal back then about it. Anyway, okay, last paragraph, I think. Old dogs can learn new tricks, I say, and my new trick is computing with the Sinclair. To join me in my adventure, come check out my YouTube channel and my Facebook group. Also check out my first Sinclair game that was all programmed on my Sinclair Spectrum. Sweet, I said in exclamation. TJ Ferrero lives in California, USA with his lovely wife. Almost 30 years I put there, and it's now over 33 years. And farm of fuzzy cats and dogs. YouTube.com/Mac Society. Facebook.com/groups/Sinclair Society. And by the way, those are places that you can visit, and I'm sure you're visiting already. And then I also have an itch.io account, which is long, sinclairsociety.itch.io/invasion -of -the -cloud people. I don't know, is there all those dashes in there? I'd have to go look. But if you go to itch.io and type in Invasion of the Cloud People or TJ Ferrero or Sinclair Society, you'd probably find me. Anyway, that was the story. It wasn't a long one. It wasn't groundbreaking. But it was my love, my first foray into writing for the Speccy. Maybe one day that will open up new windows, like in 20 years from now. Crash Magazine will still be going. They'll go, hey, TJ, you want to write an article for it? Something. Or just somebody going, hey, we're looking back at old coverage of when the next first came out. Do you want to write a story about it? I don't know. Anyway, it's all fun. I'm so happy that George, thank you again, George, for letting me write for this cool book. It's thick. It's a couple hundred pages of everything retro. So that's it. Thanks for listening to the Crash Radio. You're either asleep, snoring. I heard some of you snoring. Wake up! You're going, oh, gee, I don't want to listen to this story. I'm sure some of you probably enjoyed it. Some may have been having a little amore. I don't want to go there. I don't want to picture you, old ball man, doing anything crazy. Oh, my middle finger was up right as I was saying that. Sorry about that. See, radio and video, it's all fun. So thanks for listening. I don't know what I'll do for number 6. 6 is sexy, so maybe I'll bring back that black sexy computer that I was talking about. I don't know. We'll figure out something. But thanks for listening, and you have a great rest of your week. And I'm waving to the camera. Bye. See ya.